Welcome back to Media Bites. This is your host, Random Rob. Tonight, October of 2011 saw the release of The Thing, a sci-fi horror thriller by Dutch director Matthias van Heiningen. Heiningen was mostly known as a television commercial director, but had made a short film thriller called Red Rain in 1996, which got him some critical attention. He had been picked to make the sequel to the Dawn of the Dead remake produced by Zack Snyder. But when that project fell through, he landed the director's job on a prequel to John Carpenter's seminal horror film. Producers Mark Abraham and Eric Newman felt the material was ripe for re-exploration and had a script penned by Ronald D. Moore, who was an alumnus of the post-Roddenberry Star Trek series, as well as the Battlestar Galactica series reboot. The script was extensively rewritten, and after a 4-month shoot, the film went through several more months of reshoots and re-edits, indicating there were troubles with the film and/or conflict over Heiningen's and Universal's vision of the final product. Whatever the reasons, the film is flawed in places, and I'd like to suggest a few places where some simple tweaks could have made it more coherent or enjoyable. Now, I like this opening sequence with the Norwegian bass crew following the mysterious radio signal to its point of origin. The film quality echoes Carpenter's film's looks. The guys are telling a dirty joke, the signal is getting louder. It's a good build-up to a crazy crescendo. Except for the music. Marco Beltrami is a capable composer, but there's something depressed and derivative sounding about this opening theme. It's just not really that strong. I was thinking of looking at this scene with a piece by Akira Yamaoka, who did the Silent Hill soundtracks. There's a piece on the Silent Hill 3 game called Ordinary Vanity that I think works really well here. Let's take a look. I think something like that, less suggestive of an emotional overtone, but more suggestive of isolation and an eerie quality, would have worked better. Antarctica isn't a place that needs the music to sell it, so much as stand behind it. Anyway, on to the introduction of the heroine, Kate Lloyd, and probably the singular Achilles heel of the film. This scene is just plain awful. Let's have a look first, and then I'll get into it.
Kate.
Shit.
Sorry, Kate. These fellas said that you've been expecting them?
Oh, of course. Thanks, Hank.
Thanks. Hey. You forgot, didn't you?
No, I just... Yeah.
He just wanted to, Actually, this is him, okay.
I'm Dr. Sander Halvorsen.
Kate Lloyd.
Yes. Do you know who I am?
I do.
Adam told me a little bit about you as well. He says you specialize in vertebrate paleontology.
Primarily, yes.
And obviously you extracted specimens from pack ice.
I've worked on several cold weather digs.
Good.
An old friend of mine and colleague from Oslo runs a geological research station in Antarctica. 48 hours ago, his team found something quite remarkable.
Really? What'd they find?
We're flying down there tomorrow evening to examine the site, and I need a paleontologist.
Doctor, I'm sure you can understand that I need to know a little bit about what it is I'm being asked to dig up.
There's a structure.
A structure?
Yes.
In Antarctica.
And a specimen. That's all I can tell you.
And I guess I don't have any time to think about this.
No, I'm sorry. I need your answer right now.
Well, I'm in.
Great. Adam will get you the details of our departure. See you in your car.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Adam? What the hell is it?
You now officially know as much as I do. But I'll tell you one thing, I worked for that guy for 3 years, and I've never seen him this excited.
The lack of contextual clues about who these people are drives me crazy. Are Adam and Kate former colleagues, lovers, friends? How long has it been since they've seen each other? You would assume they haven't seen each other recently, so why is there little to no acknowledgement? If the characters don't care much about each other, you can't expect the audience to. I think if she had looked up and said, "Oh shit, Adam, how long have you been waiting? I'm so sorry," and give him a hug, then even if I don't know what their jobs are, I can at least say, okay, they're close friends, or something. Then you have Dr. Halverson come in, and no one shakes hands. Professionals shake hands when they're meeting. Bizarre. Then he asks her if she knows who he is, and she says, "I do," with this weird look on her face. I mean, if you're going for snarky, she could give Adam a knowing look and say, "Adam has told me a lot about you," and they could laugh a little. And then Dr. Halverson could laugh too and say something like, "Don't believe everything you hear about me being unforgiving and tedious. Isn't that what so-and-so said you called me recently, Adam?" Awkward pause, flustered laugh from Adam, and then Adam could say, "Well, I think that thermal imaging project was tough on everyone." And then Halverson could say, "On you especially, I think." And then he could wink congenially at Kate. Something that would break the tension. Or, alternately, he could ask, "Do you know who I am?" And she could rattle off his resume in a professional manner, like, of course she's heard of him. Who in our field hasn't, heard of that incredible site you excavated in Tangiers in 1977, etc. My point is, we only know the characters through their dialogue to one another, and if they don't reveal anything, it's just weird. Beyond that, Kate gets snarky over not knowing what she's supposed to dig up. Seriously? A renowned archaeologist invites you to go to fucking Antarctica to be part of a really big find, and you're all like, "Don't waste my time"? She's working in what looks like a university basement. Why wouldn't she be excited about a job in the one place on the planet archaeology has barely touched? It makes no sense. Halverson is all stiff and weird too. Adam says, "I've never seen him this excited." What excitement? He looks like a corpse. I'd have Kate pull Adam aside after he walks out and say, "If that's excited, I'd hate to see him depressed." And then ask him what's wrong with him, and then Adam could drop some gossip like, "To be honest, since his daughter was killed by a drunk driver last spring, he's been really down. I think he needs this dig to get centered again." And then any emotional weirdness on Halverson's part would have a basis, so you wouldn't wonder about the stiff delivery. It just gets on my nerves because the thinking seems to be it's okay for these characters to be adversarial and emotionally vacant because it builds tension. Wrong. You build tension by having characters you have some investment in, whether emotionally or cognitively, and then you put them in situations that test their character. Then if they're scared, I'll get scared. But if you're just going to rush through the introductions, what's the point? In addition, A scene of Kate preparing for her journey, driving home, getting her stuff together, giving her cat to a pet sitter while she's gone, playing music on her stereo, talking to her mom or dad on the phone, like, holy shit, I'm going to Antarctica. Any of these things would have created some depth, so I wouldn't feel like I'm watching Mary Elizabeth Winstead, the actress, reading lines and making weird faces, instead of Kate Lloyd, the paleontologist, who I'm supposed to, I think, care about. A minute of her at leisure would have fleshed her out in the same way having a line of dialogue giving Halverson a personal tragedy would have. It doesn't take a lot of work. I don't know what they were thinking. Having Kate going home would also spare the film from transitioning right back to Antarctica after a scene shot in a basement. If you indicate that there's an outside world full of life and people, then the transition to empty wasteland has a stronger impact. And then we have this uninspired string and horn thing going on again. This adventure film music, which, this is supposed to be like a horror thriller. This score it's just wrong. Aside from the fact that no one looks jet-lagged after flying across a quarter of the planet, the film gets noticeably better from this point on. The introduction of the American pilots, played by Joel Edgerton and Adewale Akinnuoye-Agbaje, really lighten the tone and bring some warmth.
I was hoping maybe you could help me with something. I can't seem to get a hold of a newspaper that's not, 3 weeks old, and I'm a man in desperate need of certain information.
Don't do this to yourself, man.
And what information would that be?
I want to know how the Cavaliers are doing.
I don't follow football.
This basketball team. They play basketball.
Barely. They're the Cavaliers, man.
Sorry I couldn't help you.
No, that's all right. Hey, listen, so you guys know, whatever y'all are doing, you might want to wrap it up in a couple of days.
Yeah, why's that?
There's a storm moving in. A nasty one. Good morning, Griggs. Yeah, he's right. And the last place you want to be is cooped up with a dozen Norwegian guys. Trust me.
And from there, things are pretty straightforward up until the tissue sample scene where things start to not make sense again in a sort of pointlessly tense way.
Good. But before we do, I'm going to take a tissue sample.
Do you really think that's a good idea?
Yes, I do.
I mean, the conditions are so unpredictable and we don't have the proper equipment. Sterilization is an issue.
Edward, what do you have in the way of a small diameter drill?
Up to 30 millimeters.
Very good. I think somewhere around here. Kate, just a second. In the future, don't contradict me in front of those people again.
I just thought it.
You're not here to think. You're here to get the thing safely out of the ice. I hope we understand each other.
On the one hand, like she says, they don't have proper equipment, i.e. a hazmat facility. But that means they're just going to be thawing this thing out in a dusty room, at which point everyone will be exposed to whatever it is, short of wearing hospital masks. Halverson being in a hurry doesn't make much sense either. It's highly likely the thing is extraterrestrial. And again, he's in Antarctica. It's not like he's leaving in a big hurry. Why is he risking contaminating the sample by rushing to check it out? The answer is this is another scene that's meant to increase tension between these two characters, but why? It's a horror film. It doesn't require friction between characters over things that could be easily resolved. If tension is done wrong, it's duller than dull. It'd be much more interesting to have these characters be friendly and then slowly turn on each other. That's the pathology of what the shape changer in this film does. It sows a viral distrust between everyone that destroys them. But if you start with distrust for no good reason, then you're not going anywhere within that plot. Again, bad writing of these two characters. And then there's this CGI disaster. Jesus. To just put the nail in the coffin of Halverson doesn't like Kate, the alien is wearing his face during the climactic spaceship scene near the end of the film. Why, Lord? Why do this? The thing has no form, and borrows form to stalk and kill its victims. There's no reason for it to be walking around with Halverson's face in the spaceship it arrived on, other than to somehow give closure to Halverson hates Kate and Kate hates Halverson, so she can destroy him. Who put this plot thread in? It's not even a plot thread. It's like some awful burrowing caterpillar fucking up a halfway decent film. Really, from the tissue sample scene to this pile of what the fuck, the thing is a good retread of an old franchise and has some good surprises and disturbing scares. And the final scene of the film is as ambiguous and emotionally confusing as Carpenter's finale. Too much of a rush, I guess, and trying to insert stock tropes so the film wouldn't feel boring. But being bored is what horror is about. You get the audience in a heightened state of awareness, and then you make them wait. I don't mean to sound so harsh about this film, really. Considering the time and budget and what they were aspiring to, trying to sort of recreate what made this seminal classic, I think they did their best. There were just too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't want to just do a video where I'm showing what I think are bad scenes from the film, so I'd like to close with what I think is a really good sequence in this movie.
It's going to be okay, Ulo. A doctor will see in McMurdo.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey. We're leaving. If the weather holds up, we'll be back with help as soon as we can.
Okay.
All right.
Keep him aboard. I will. Come on, let's go. Sit down there. There you go.
shouldn't leave.
All right. Let's just get out of here, man. All right, fuck it, we're landing. Shit. Let's take her down.
Is there something wrong?
No, everything's fine. You probably just forgot something. We'll be in the air in no time. Okay? Don't worry. Hang in there.
Something's wrong.
Well, that's all for this time. Thanks for hanging out with me again. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, and feel free to subscribe to Media Bites and look me up on Facebook. Any and all feedback is appreciated, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.